tutorial for the Blue Belt song in Recorder Karate, When the Saints Go Marching In. Now this music is a little bit more tricky. It has 3 whole lines, and it has something in it called a tie. A tie is a curved line which connects notes of the same pitch. Only the first note is played, and then it's held for the total value of the connected notes. So before we can do that, let's talk about ties a little more. Now a tie is like a plus sign between 2 notes. It looks like a plus, well, it looks like a smiley face, but it acts like a plus sign. The smiley face can go this way, or it can go below, depending on how the note is written on the page. So if we add different notes together, let's practice this. Quarter note is 1 beat. Quarter note is 1 beat. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So these 2 notes tied together are held for 2 beats. Now if we have a half note tied to a quarter note, we're holding this for 2 beats and this for 1 beat. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Now there are 2 tied notes that it mentions in your song. It mentions a dotted half note tied to a half note, and it mentions a whole note tied to a quarter note. Both of these get 5 beats, and let me show you how. A dotted half note gets 3 beats, and a half note gets 2 beats. So if you add 3 plus 2 together, it equals 5. And how we count that is 1 for 5 pulses. Then we have this rhythm. I'm trying not to confuse you. This is a whole note, which is held for 4 beats, and a quarter note, which is held for 1 beat. So 4 plus 1 equals 5. And how we count that is 1, just like we did the previous note in our song. So what we're going to do is talk about how we count the rhythm in the song before we get to any of the pitches. Now this song doesn't come in on beat 1, it comes on beat 2. If you notice, there are only 3 beats in this first measure. 1, 2, 3. But the time signature says 4, 4. So we come in on beat 2. So I'm going to count you in as I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Oh, when the saints. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Oh, when the saints. Just so you get that part. So let's count it together looking at your music. 1, actually we're going to chant the words instead of chanting the rhythms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. If you count in your music how many tied notes there are, or how many times you're counting to 5, let's find them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to count to 5 different times throughout the song. Now also, after each of those tied notes, you'll see the breath mark that is above your music, the little comma. That means when you go 1, go marching in, you take a small breath off of your recorder. That's going to help you a lot. Now let's talk about the notes that you're going to see in here. You're going to see G, A, and B, the same notes we've been talking about for a while. You also are going to see 2 new notes that are much higher on the staff. We've talked about low E and low D. The notes that we're going to talk about now are high C and high D. High C is right above B that's in the middle of the staff. It's the C right up here. When we look at E, G, B, D, F, and F, A, C, E, those acronyms that we talked about, this is C and F, A, C, E. You can see as you count the lines. F, or the spaces, A, C, E. So that's C. Then there's D, and D is right above C. Right here. E, G, B, D, F. So that's the D that they're talking about there. Now C is quite tricky, and now how you play C is much different than any other pitch we've played before. Your thumb still goes on the back, but your middle finger of your left hand goes on the second hole. So it's like B, except you're switching fingers and only playing the second hole. So this is C. So I'm going to play, and I want you to repeat the patterns after me. . and so on and so forth. Then we go to D. D is even more tricky than C. So let's go to B, then go to C. Now D is just like C, except we're not playing with our thumb. We're just playing this second hole with our middle finger. But wait a second, how do we hold the recorder just like that without our thumb? It's important that you use your right hand on the bottom to kind of ground yourself so that you cannot hold that thumb on the back and still play this note effectively. So let's play D now. And there you go. Now let's go back. Let's go from B to C to D. I'm actually going to turn to the side so you can see me better. One more time. Now I'm going to go back and forth between C and D. All I'm going to be doing is taking my thumb on and off. Kind of a whole lot trickier, but When the Saints Go Marching In is probably your most challenging song so far. In fact, I think it's even more challenging than the final belt, which is the black belt song, but we'll get to that later. So now we're going to chant the pitches, the letter names of the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. G, B, C, D. G, B, C, D. G, B, C, D. B, G, B, A. B, A, G. G, B, D, 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 C. B, C, D, B, G, A, G. So if it helps you to tap your foot on those tied notes for 5 beats, that might help you because that helped me too. So now we're going to play. Actually, take that back. We're going to finger the notes as we say the notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to slow much slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, go. G, B, C, D. G, B, C, D. G, B, C, D. B, G, B, A. B, A, G. G, B, D, 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 C. B, C, D. B, G, A, G. So now we're going to play a cappella very slowly, just like we did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So what's most tricky, I believe, is in the second line of your music, it goes from a B to a D. So you have to go from pinching the first hole on your thumb to just playing the second hole without your thumb. And that's tricky. So let's go back and forth. Now let's play with the track and see how we do. There you go. Now let's see how you do by yourself. Awesome job. Now you are ready for the next song, which is the red belt song.